Blessings, everyone. Here we are once again with our English class, book number 3, chapter 5, side by side. Book number 3, chapter 5, side by side. We're going to be talking about present perfect versus present tense, present perfect versus past tense, and when to use since and when to use for. We're going to be discussing duration of activities, medical symptoms and problems, and we're also going to be doing career advancement, telling about family members as well. Please, let's begin. Please repeat after me. Astronaut, cashier, clerk, computer programmer, doctor, physician, guidance counselor, guitarist, journalist, manager, musician, police officer, president, salesperson, taxi driver, vice president. Okay, let's continue on. How long? So we have to make sure we pay attention to this section here. So we're looking here for, okay? For instance, answer the question, how long? So the amount of time that it lasted. So let's see if this helps. Okay. So this is the present. And if I say, for how long will you be away? For how long will you be away? I will be away for 3 hours. So that means that, according to my question in the future, if I leave at 1 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., I will be gone until 4 p.m. So I will be there for 3 hours. Okay? Or I will be there for 2 days. So let's just say it will be Monday and Tuesday. For a week. Or for a long time. So for a week would be, again, we could use this phrase here. We could say, for 7 days. Or for a long time, or for a short time. Now, when talking about using the word since, if I say the question, since when have you been working today? Since when have you been working today? The answer would be, let's say right now, it's 8 p.m. Right now it's 8 p.m. And I answer you, I've been working since 3 o'clock. This means that I have been working for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5 hours. Now, if I say I have been working since yesterday afternoon, that means, and it is today, let's say 8 o'clock, that means I have been working since yesterday around 1, 2, 3, 4 afternoon. Now, you can also say last week, last night. Okay. Now, when you are going to use a year to answer the question, you would also use since, because you're giving a specific time. So if you say 2002, if you say 1999, I have been sick with these conditions since 2017, for example. Good. So here we go. Please repeat after me. How long have you known each other? We have known each other for 3 years. Please repeat after me. Know, knew, known. These are our 3 columns, right? Present, past, past participle. How long have you been sick? I've been sick since last Friday. So let's do one example here. How long have Tom and Janet known each other? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify that we're talking about Tom and Janet. Tom and Janet would be they. We're going to use have, they have. We are going to then identify the verb we are using. In this case, would be known, they have. Known each other for 2 years. All right, so following these 2 examples, which will be this example and this example, please complete all of these exercises. Make sure that you copy down the question, copy down the complete answer. Okay. Now we're going to complete this reading. In this reading, we are going to see a very dedicated doctor that is helping all of these patients with different conditions. Repeat after me. Dr. Fernando's waiting room is very full today. A lot of people are waiting to see him, and they're hoping that the doctor can help them. George's neck has been stiff for more than a week. Martha has had a bad headache since yesterday, and Lenny has felt dizzy since early this morning. Carol has had a high fever for 2 days. Bob's knee has been swollen for 3 weeks. Bill's arm has been black and blue since last weekend, and Tommy and Julie have had little red spots all over their bodies for the past 24 hours. Okay, continue. Dr. Fernando has been in the office since early this morning. He has already seen a lot of patients, and he will certainly see many more before the day is over. Dr. Fernando's patients don't know it, but he also isn't feeling well. He has had a pain in his back since last Thursday, but he hasn't taken any time to stay at home and rest. He has had a lot of patients this week, and he's a very dedicated doctor. Excellent. Based on the story, please answer these questions that are on the bottom, and you can create a dialogue like the one in this example using information from the story that we just read. Please answer these questions based on the story. Okay, now we're going to focus on the use of since I was a little girl. Do you know how to ski? Yes, I've known how to ski since I was a little girl. Second example, are you two engaged? Yes, we've been engaged since we finished college. Let's look at the first example, and then you will complete the rest. Does your sister Jennifer play the cello? Yes. You could also answer, you don't have to. Yes, she does. Like we have practiced in the past. And then you would say, she's been playing the cello since she was 8 years old. If you wanted to, you could say she's been playing the cello, or she's been playing since she was 8 years old. In case you wrote that, I like to have the whole sentence because it helps you to practice all of the new vocabulary you're learning. So please complete this section. Number 2. And complete all of these ones here. And let's move on to the next page. Have you always taught history? Please repeat after me. Have you always taught history? No, I've taught history for the past 3 years. Before that, I taught geography. The next example, please repeat after me. Has Victor always been a taxi driver? No, he's been a taxi driver since he immigrated to this country. Before that, he was an engineer. So question number 1, have you always liked classical music? You would say, no, I haven't. Say no first. You say, I haven't. And then you follow the verbs, the verb that was used. I haven't liked classical music for the past. No. All right. I was answering the question in negative form. No, I haven't. First, which is something that we learned. So let me just write it here on top, just for extra information. So if let me go up. If I come here and the person says, has Victor always been a taxi driver? You can say, this is also something we learned before. No, he hasn't. Okay, but for this exercise, they don't want you to do that. They want you to focus on the fact that you are just writing the negative, the answer. No, that's it. But I do want you to know how to say the full answer negative, because you might not have to say the whole thing when you're speaking with people. So we're only stating the affirmative. So let's continue. Here we go. Have you always liked classical music? So the answer will be no, period. You're talking about I, right? I have liked jazz. What do we say? For or since? Okay. For the past 5 years. So you have to identify if you're going to be using for or if you're going to be using since. Don't forget to go back and refer to this section here where you have the rules if you get stuck and need some help. All right. So you now have to complete the whole exercise here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue on. How to say it? Reacting to information. When someone says something to you, you can reply something new or some new information or some information. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Those are some of the ones that you can, some of the ways that you can answer. Now, this part here is more focused on you. I want you to please write down the answers from what is to how long you have. And you're going to have to answer different. So you could say, my present address is 89 Washington Avenue, Victory Gardens, New Jersey. How long have you lived there? I have lived there since 2010, for example. So please practice, and when you come to have your work checked, I'll be able to look at your work. We have this reading. Please read after me. Repeat after me. A wonderful family. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson are proud of their family. Their daughter Ruth is a very successful engineer. She has been an engineer since she finished college. Her husband's name is Pablo. They have been happily married for 35 years. Pablo is a professional guitarist. He has known how to play the guitar since he was 4 years old. Ruth and Pablo have 2 children. Their son, David, is a computer programmer. He has been interested in computers since he was a teenager. Their daughter Rita is a physician. She has been a physician since she finished medical school in 1997. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson also have a son, Herbert. Herbert is single. He has been a bachelor all his life. He's a famous journalist. They haven't seen him since he moved to Singapore several years ago. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson feel fortunate to have such wonderful children and grandchildren. They're very proud of them. So now, looking at the reading, please complete true or false. Now, we're going to complete a listening section. So I'm going to read something to you, and you are going to identify if it is true or false. Here we go. Listen to the conversation and choose the answer that is true. How long have you had a backache? For 3 days. So which one of this is correct? She still has a backache, right? Because she has had it. She has had it for 3 days. Number 2. Has your father always been an engineer? No, he hasn't. But right now, his father is an engineer. Number 3. How long has your knee been swollen? Her knee is still swollen. Very good. Number 4. How long have you known how to ski? Since I was a teenager. So this is an interesting one. Which one do you think? Since he was a teenager, but that already passed, so he's not a teenager anymore. Number 5. Did you live in Tokyo for a long time? Yes, 5 years. All right, so she lived in Tokyo for number 6. Number 6. Number 6. How long has Roger been interested in Egyptian history? Since he lived in Cairo. So we can see here that at a given time, Roger lived in Cairo. He has lived in Cairo. Number 7. Is Amy still in the hospital? Oh, I forgot to tell you. She's been home for 2 days. That means that Amy went home 2 days ago. And number 8. Have you played hockey for a long time? Yes, I've played hockey since I moved to Toronto 3 years ago. So he has lived in Toronto for 3 years. Excellent. Please repeat after me. Louis is very successful. For the past 6 years, he has been the manager of the Big Value supermarket on Grand Street. Louis has worked very hard to get where he is today. First, he was a clerk for 2 years. Then he was a cashier for 3 years. After that, he was an assistant manager for 5 years. Finally, 6 years ago, he became the manager of the store. Everybody at the Big Value supermarket is very proud of Louis. He started at the bottom and he has worked his way up to the top. Kate is very successful. For the past 2 years, she has been the president of the Marcy Company. Kate has worked very hard to get where she is today. She started her career at the Marcy department stores in Dallas, Texas. First, she was a salesperson for 3 years. Then she was the manager of the women's clothing department for 10 years. Then she was a store manager for 8 years. After that, she moved to New York and became a vice president. Finally, 2 years ago, she became the president. Everybody at the Marcy Company is very proud of Kate. She started at the bottom and she has worked her way up to the top. All right, so you need to complete the true, false, or maybe based on the story. And then you also need to write a story about your English teacher. And you can show this to me later when I check your notebook. This is role playing. You're going to practice role playing with someone else. So please find someone that's close to you, family member, or one of your classmates, and you can read this with them and practice. Then you're going to pretend that it's 10 years from now. You're walking along the street and suddenly you meet a student who was in your English class. Now, the key thing here is you have to remember that you haven't seen this person for 10 years. So you have to use have, has, had, and so forth. So don't forget. For those that don't have, I'll just leave it so you can take a picture. And to finish up, please repeat after me. How long have you been sick? How long has Miss Bennett been a teacher? Bob has been the manager for 6 months. How long have you known each other? How long has Mr. Perkins had a stomach ache? Kate has been the president for the past 2 years. Please take out your notebooks and in your journals, please write about the activities and interests that you have or possess. And don't forget to review the vocabulary for this chapter. Thank you, everyone. Continue studying. You got this. Blessings to you.